Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast.
And here's your host, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Welcome back to another edition of Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast, Freedom Edition. Just had the 4th of July, so we're feeling freedom. We're free from our podcast oppressors. I don't know. We've always celebrated Independence Day here on SRBB. We're not connected to anybody necessarily. However, hint, hint, Dr. Pepper. We both have our icy cold beverage of choice, Dr. Pepper of choice, at hand. So why don't you go grab your own, whatever it is you like, icy cold, whatever, or hot drink, even though it's summertime and, you know, whatever. Hey, no judgment here. It's independence. You're free to do what you want to do there. All right. The only thing that we have found lately that is not free, or someone who doesn't feel free to do their thing, is Mike Trout in Houston. Talk about that coming up. Talk about what's happening with the Dodgers. What's going on? Are they still boring and uninspiring? Plus, I did hear something that could be good news with the Dodgers coming up. Some big performances around the minor leagues coming up, and big performances from the Pirates. What? Are we sure they're not a World Series bound team?
It almost seems like an oxymoron.
What did you call me? My oxymoronic self and Jana are ready to attack the All-Star Game. Well, last week we talked about phase 1 of the All-Star Game voting, and we're just a couple of weeks away from the All-Star Game finally coming to Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, finally.
Let's see. It was supposed to be there in 2020, and we know that didn't happen. And then there was an idea about it coming in 2021, but that was supposed to go to Atlanta. But then, of course, they had a whole bunch of non-baseball issues in Georgia that stopped that from happening. And now 2022, and we're finally getting it here in Los Angeles. So the Dodgers will be hosting that, and they'll have a weird week leading up to it, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Right now, let's talk about when we left off. We didn't know who was going to win phase 1 yet. We had a pretty good idea. And really, when we talked about it, only one of the two people we talked about made it through. There was a last-minute push, and we kind of talked about him too, I guess. But there was a last-minute push. Aaron Judge made his way through. No surprise there. He is the first starter for the American League team. The National League team, Mookie Betts was number 1 when last we spoke. Ronald Acuna Jr. was only around 70,000 votes behind. And a big ballot push from somewhere, Ronald Acuna Jr. was able to bypass Mookie, and he got that guaranteed starter spot for the National League. So two outfielders are the two top vote getters, and that means that the top 2 now from every position, with the exception of the outfield, that's the top 4, have moved on for the next phase of All-Star voting, or phase 2, as they originally. That's, I mean, mind-blowing how they come up with these names and ideas for what to call it.
Yeah, voting is going on right now. It'll go through till tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So you have to plan accordingly.
Do math.
And do
minus 3. So I have until 11
yes.
Pacific time.
Yep.
Okay.
And I have until 12. And then on they will announce the winners of the All-Star Starters on ESPN. And you can vote once a day.
Only once a day? Not like 5 times a day like it used to be? Once a day?
Well, I think it might be once a day, but maybe they give you 5 chances to vote in one day.
In one day? I don't know. I didn't
That's how
read
they
about
did
it,
phase 1.
and I didn't vote. I miss the
You
old days. The
exercised
punch
your
cards.
freedom. Oh, yeah, those are fun.
You go to the game, you get the punch card. We went to a game one of the last times that they had those. And Blanca and I were at the game, and we had a whole bunch of them, and we're sitting there. You know how you eat peanuts during a game? You're shelling them, you throw them in. And it was like that. We were kind of doing the same thing, punching out for all the Angels to play. And this guy saw us, and we had a bunch of them. And he's like, they're rigging the All-Star game. Like, if we can help it.
Yeah, just the 2 of you.
If we can help it, yes, we are.
That's right. Yeah, they
If
don't
I could do
that
it now,
anymore.
I would have, Tyler Wade, even though he got DFA'd. Oops. I guess I let that out a little too early. If I could vote enough times for him to actually make it, I would do it just because.
Yeah.
Why?
Why
Because
not?
the people in Japan loved him. All right, we'll talk
That's
more
right.
about his fate. Who's moving on in the All-Star balloting? Top 2, and then the outfield the top 4. Now, we did have the top 5 outfielders included 2 Angels when last we spoke.
Yeah.
But only one moved on. The other one
Only one.
didn't get the extra votes and got overtaken by the team that I think has the most players on the list, which is the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I think they have 6 on the list. Starting with catcher Alejandro Kirk, and is it like a battle now? Alejandro Kirk battling Jose Trevino for the catcher position, for the All-Star position.
I would guess, yeah.
And then Vladimir Guerrero Jr., no surprise there, and Ty France at first base. Jose Altuve and Santiago Espinal.
Another Blue Jay.
Another Blue Jay.
And you know who we're rooting for to make it there is
the Blue Jay?
Yeah. Although I did see, and I mean, not completely surprised. And I'm a little surprised that Altuve's doing as well as he is this time, but it's been since 2018 that he's been elected as a starter. And it's not as if he's not had all-star numbers. He's had a couple of down time frames, but overall, he's still been the same solid second baseman he's been all along. So,
I would have thought that he would have just always been in the running there. I don't know. Third base, Jose Ramirez and Rafael Devers of Boston. And then shortstop, Bo Bichette, surprise of Toronto, and Tim Anderson of the White Sox.
Who's my choice? I mean, not that I don't like Bo Bichette, but there's just something about Tim Anderson. I'm a Tim Anderson fan. I like the way he plays.
Yeah.
I hate playing against him because he's always on base. Even when it's not his turn, somehow he's on base, and everybody's fine with it. When Tim Anderson's there, it's almost like there's a ghost runner at the beginning of every inning. He just goes and takes a base somewhere.
Yeah, so he could totally do that in the All-Star game. Outfield, Mike Trout, George Springer, Giancarlo Stanton, and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. So 2 Blue Jays, an Angel, and a Yankee.
So depending on how it goes, Mike Trout's going to be there.
Oh yeah.
So unless, my feeling is probably George Springer will hang in and be the third outfielder, but you've got, you could have two Yankees out there as well, since Aaron Judge is already established in there. And then finally, DH.
Yordan Alvarez of Houston and Shohei Ohtani.
I always wonder, because Yordan Alvarez was traded from the Dodgers
Yes.
to Houston, and he had never played a game for them in their system anywhere. So it made me wonder, what if he had stayed with the Dodgers? What would be happening with him now?
No, that's an interesting question.
So maybe we need to get in the Wayback Machine and go see. Stop that from
We
happening.
do.
I don't know. We got to figure something out. I'd like to see how that would have played out. Of course, he would have had to play the field, and he's been DHing there for quite a while. And
Yeah, and when he did play the field, he ran into. Sorry. When he was playing the outfield, he and Michael Pena ran into each other, and he had to be carted off the fild. I think he was okay.
Was that
but,
Jeremy Pena?
Oh yeah, well,
The
I said
shortstop?
Michael. Yeah, I'm calling everybody Michael today.
Okay. That works.
So
I don't care.
Michael Ohtani and Michael Alvarez.
I guess it'll work if we talk about Michael Trout.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, Jeremy Pena and Yordan Alvarez. So yeah,
And-
he's probably a better DH than an outfielder.
So Michael Alvarez and Michael Pena. Okay. So that's the American League. Who do we have with the National League? Who's our first baseman? I would think that number one of the two would probably be Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah, I am pretty sure Paul Goldschmidt. He's having
Mike Goldschmidt.
Mike Goldschmidt.
Mike Goldschmidt.
Paul Mike with quotes around it. Goldschmidt. He's having a great year. I mean, just like crazy, like stellar year. But he's in the running with Pete Alonso. So, and Pete Alonso's having a good year too, but not anything like Paul.
No. All right. Second base.
Second base, Ozzy Albies, but he's out with a fractured foot. So that's not going to work. And Jazz Chisholm Jr. of Miami.
Not a surprise on there. Now, how did what do in the balloting, as well as who?
I don't know.
Third base. All right. Speaking of which,
Manny Machado and Nolan Arenado are the top for third base.
Nolan
And-
Arenado just hit for the cycle the other day. Only the second
Hit for
time
the
in his career.
cycle.
He's no
And
Jared
Manny-
Walsh, but he's not bad.
Yeah. And Manny Machado, who is having a really good year carrying San Diego. We'll talk about him in the Dodgers segment. But
In fact, I think that Manny Machado, with the way that he's been playing overall, if not for Paul Goldschmidt, is probably the front runner for MVP. Right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right, shortstops. I think there's somebody we know at shortstop.
Somebody we know, Trey Turner and Dansby Swanson.
Both free agents next year.
Yes, they're going to be free
So-
agents.
Trey could go to Atlanta and sign, and Dansby could sign with the Dodgers,
They could do a swap.
but without the actual trade. I don't want to see that happen.
No, I want to see Trey in Dodger blue.
Yep. And I don't care what happens to Dansby. If he wants to come and be an Angel, that's okay. But I'm not sure that I'm really all that it matters that much.
Yeah, I like his name. It
Yeah.
always sounds like he should be in a Jane Austen novel.
Yeah. We
Mr.
talked about that.
Swanson.
Yes. Yes, indeed. He should be on Bridgerton or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
know if that if that works. I've never seen that show. I just saw a thing. The Netflix screen was up on my TV, and I saw that come up. I don't know if that.
Yeah, it
if
was
that
like,
works.
because you like, and then it came up.
Yeah. See, it wasn't under my thing because they know I don't watch anything that somebody's not bleeding in. All right, so we go to the outfield.
Mookie Betts, number one. Well, I say number one, but yeah, at the top. And then Jocelyn, Jock
Still.
Peterson. Yes. And Starling Marte of the Mets and Adam Duvall of the Braves.
Okay. So probably, unless something changes, we'll probably see Mookie make it in there. Hopefully Trey. Now, reserves and such are voted on by the players. So we're not really sure who we'll see. Plus then coaches, and then you got to start taking into account people who are injured. Will they be able to come back and play? Ty France, who is in the running at first base in American League, he is injured. Will he make it back? I mean, if you get elected, then you still get, all the things. You still get to wear the crown and the cape and carry the specter or whatever. But
right, wave to the crowd.
You just don't play. So they
elbow, wrist.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, we didn't talk about catcher and designated
we didn't
hitter
on either one either, did we? On
no,
either.
we did on the American
not
League, but
paying
not
attention?
National League. I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay, so catcher
Sorry.
Wilson Contreras of the
Yes.
Cubs and Travis d'Arnaud of the Braves.
Another one
And-
with a last name that could end up in one of those. He could be in the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yes.
d'Arnaud was the prison guard.
Yeah.
I don't.
Now
was the
there
house
is a
man.
push.
d'Arnaud, come hither.
There is a
Bring
push.
Dansby with you.
There is a push because Wilson Contreras, who plays for the Cubs, is in the catcher position, and his brother is in designated hitter, William Contreras of Atlanta. So the Contreras brothers are putting on a push like, hey, wouldn't it be fun to see brothers play in the All-Star game? I don't know.
Not you two.
Right. And also the other designated
That's like
hitter
getting
is
the
Bryce
Ripken
Harper.
brothers.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to see Cal and Billy play together? No, you know what? Cal, the dad, and Cal Jr., maybe. But I don't care
Not
to see
Billy.
those two in there, you know?
No.
It was fun when Wilson and William got to hug each other at the ballpark and play against each other then. That's enough.
Yeah, I think that's good. That's good. Bryce Harper is the other designated hitter, but he had surgery on his thumb, so we know that he will not be there.
So that's the question then now. Who will pop up? Those guys could still get the votes, but obviously they're not going to take part in the game. Now the biggest question that everybody's asking, and we haven't heard a lot about it, is Home Run Derby.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything. Usually by this point, you've heard like, yes, I'm definitely going to be in the Home Run Derby. I think a lot of people would love to see Pete Alonso three-peat. I'd like to see Pete Alonso, the polar bear. Can he do it 3 times in a row? And then I think Aaron Judge.
Yes.
Would be great.
Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton is another one who would be okay there. I think that I know that both Ohtani and Mike Trout have been asked. Ohtani has said, I don't know. It seems like he's not leaning towards kind of like, I did it. That was fun. I don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
And I also don't think that he's going to worry too much about the DH spot. because I don't know that it doesn't sound like he wants to do both things again. Last year was a special circumstance, and it was like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
I do think that he'll be voted in or selected as a pitcher.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
definitely.
even though he's doing a lot better with the bat, he's been really solid on the mound. And we'll talk more about how solid when we get to the Angels section. And then Mike Trout, who's been asked many times and has never done it, doesn't seem like he's interested in it either. So the question is, who do we have?
So I was
what are the
thinking
guys?
Kyle Schwarber, maybe.
Okay.
Byron Buxton.
Yeah.
I like Jocelyn. I think he is fun to watch. So I think Jock Peterson, again, he's been in it once. I think now I said CJ Crone in my notes, but most of his home runs have come at Coors Field. So I don't know, would he, if he was in the Home Run Derby at Dodger Stadium, how well would he do?
I saw him hit a home run in Dodger Stadium. He could do it. And remember, it's not like it's like batting practice.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not as if
not a game.
So he wouldn't be a bad choice. I mean, he's got a big bat like that. The question is do you want guys who are like the big home run hitters that are leading the league?
Yeah.
Do you want like Yordan Alvarez, who's got 24 home runs on the season? He's second to Aaron Judge. Kyle Schwarber, you said's up there. Pete Alonso. There was been some questions too. Anthony Rizzo, who's over 20 at this point in the season.
I had thought about him too.
Who else from the National League? Austin Riley, who's I think in the top 10 in MLB with about 20 home runs. That's the question. Do you want those kind of guys? Or in the NBA, it used to be with the slam dunk contest, it was always guys everybody knew. But the last few times, I've seen players that aren't like marquee names that are in the slam dunk contest. Do we want to see somebody like Luke Voigt from the Padres, who has a big bat sometimes?
I think he would be a good choice because he would come in. I mean, you think about it. When Pete Alonso first did the Home Run Derby, how many people really knew Pete Alonso other than, of course, Mets fans?
And Mr. and Mrs. Alonso.
Yeah, right. So other than that, he wasn't really like well known outside of Queens, probably, and wherever he's from. But
right.
And now when people think of the Home Run Derby, they think of Pete Alonso because has dominated the event. So yeah, I mean, I think that would be good. Maybe have somebody in there that maybe kind of in the middle, but not at the top, not with a lot of home runs, but kind of maybe in the middle, comes in there. And
I think maybe what about Patrick Wisdom from the Cubs? Might be another good one. He's in there around 15 to 18 home runs, I think, on the season. He might be another one that might be. You mentioned Kyle Schwarber. What about Rhys Hoskins? Could be another one there. I definitely think Jock should do it just because, he's got to strike the iron while it's hot.
That's right. He does. And he's just fun. He's just a fun guy to watch play. And I think it'd be fun to see Jocelyn.
And what about like guys? That's why I'm thinking about, Patrick Wisdom. What about Christian Walker from the Diamondbacks? He's he's hitting some. So maybe we get some of these guys who are on. So there's a little more. The teams that everybody knows Aaron Judge is hitting home runs, and everybody knows the Yankees. The Yankees are on all the time. Giancarlo Stanton even. Kyle Schwarber. Not everybody knows that he's hitting home runs like that in Philly.
Jack Suwinski.
Yeah. or maybe even any one of these Pirates lately, but Sawinski definitely. Brandon Drury from Cincinnati might be another guy they've got some swagger to their home run swing. They're leading their teams or high up. It's funny because when you look at the top 10 of like the National League, Mookie Betts is up there with like 16 or 17. Yet I don't want to see him in a home run contest.
No, I wouldn't either.
And
how about Rowdy Tellez?
Yeah, there you go. Rowdy Tellez would be a great one. Not only Rowdy Tellez would be a good one, but I was thinking maybe Daniel Vogelbach. When I hear Rowdy Tellez, I think Daniel Vogelbach. And you get some of these guys who, they're not prolific home run hitters, but they could be fun to watch going out there and over again. Because some of the guys that are leading the leagues nationally, American League, like I said, I don't want to see Mookie Betts hit that. I don't want to see Jose Altuve in there, especially not Kyle Tucker, but or Rafael Devers for that matter. So it's like, or maybe Jose Ramirez might be kind of fun to watch. I don't know.
Yeah.
But some of those guys that are, you're just not, you don't know them as well. And, they might hit some monster home runs. Could be fun to have those guys in there. And because the Mike Trouts of the world aren't going to do it. And, Pete Alonso doing it. Does he have to? He's got nothing else to prove. But
no. So
hopefully we'll have some answers on who's going to be part of that when we get to you next week. But so far, at least as of the recording of this episode, still pretty quiet. Of course, you'll find that on All-Star Monday on ESPN, the Homerun Derby. And if I live close enough, I would. I do. But tickets to everything connected to the All-Star game are insanely expensive and sold out in most cases. So we'll run down what's happening All-Star game wise as we get closer. And All-Star game week could work out for you and your wardrobe as well. More details on that coming up. But first, I didn't really even know how to get here.
With
the Angels.
But first, the Angels. No.
Right. Ugh. There's just Rhett Bollinger, who is a beat writer for the Angels, had and as you can imagine, if you're a big baseball fan like we are, we get the newsletters or alerts from different people about our teams, especially the Dodgers and the Angels for us, and then major league stuff. So we kind of can watch stuff because as much as we try to watch everything, it's hard. And for me now, for you, it was always hard because you had a bunch going on. For me, for a long time, I wasn't doing anything. So I had all kinds of time. Now, I found that it's a lot easier in the world if you're making some sort of a paycheck than struggling through without. So anyway, that aside, and the line on his email and part of his story was, I guess his byline would be for that. I don't know if that would be correct in this case because it was part of the email. But whatever, his tagline, his clickbait, the Angels have a June to remember. And at that point, I wondered if maybe Rhett was like in a time machine. I did see Back to the Future recently. I'm thinking maybe he went back in time and was in another June with the Angels. But I guess in one way, they did have a June to remember because those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. It seems as though we have no clue about our past because the Angels, among other parts of our world, are repeating it constantly. But it was a point that, there were a lot of things that happened in June. Joe Madden got fired. Second Joe of the season. First American League Joe. Only American League Joe. But he's fired. They're changing things. And then we're going into a series. We're closing out, even though we'll be beyond the first half in total numbers of games played before we get to the All-Star break. That kind of closes out the first half of the season. You got the midsummer break, as they call it. And how does that? July 4th is towards the beginning of summer, technically.
Right.
Summer solstice was June
really,
21st.
Yeah. So it's not
because
July,
everybody thinks that
summer.
Memorial Day is kind of the unofficial start of summer. And I guess from a school aspect, July 4th is kind of the middle because everybody goes back to school in about a month and a week. It's not like before where you didn't go to school until after Labor Day or right around Labor Day. So lots happen. The Angels are coming out of what should have been something that got them fired up last week in their brawl with the Mariners.
Right. And I think a lot of people were hoping that was going to be the case. Like, this is going to be the catalyst that makes them win. They're going to come together and just win.
It's hard to come together when 12 members of your team, coaches and everybody included, have been suspended.
Yeah.
Right?
And you have a different interim manager like every night or every 2 nights or something like that.
Some nights it's not even just an interim manager. It's the interim manager. Twice removed, I guess. I don't know how that works. So, you had like the assistant catching coach. I think one night one of the bat boys
was the manager.
The manager because they didn't have anybody else. Everybody's
right.
And I know that it was nice of MLB to kind of stagger things out a little bit because they've got guys that got that. Phil Nevin's out for 10 days, period.
Yeah.
Then you had Ray Montgomery, the bench coach. He was out, I think, 2 nights. So right now you've got, I think he's the catching coach. I don't remember, Haslam, who will be managing in Miami for the 2 games there, or did 1 game in Miami, and then the other one was the last game that they played versus Chicago. I mean, Houston. This week's games, Chicago and Houston. So here they're coming out of that. And so you're like, all right, are we fired up? You've got a Chicago team who has been told not to hustle. You guys have got too many injuries from hustling. We need you to be more Manny Machado-like.
That's right. You don't need to be Johnny on the spot. You need to just take your time to first base.
You don't have to rush down there and turn an ankle or pull a hamstring or whatever. Too many. So they were told to take it easy. And I don't know. I didn't notice that they were because, once again, Tim Anderson seemed like he was always on base. Every time I saw him, he'd be in the batter circle or on base. I think he was on base when the Angels were up. I don't know how it works. He's just always on base. Game 1 saw Thor back on the mound. 7 Ks over 7 innings, only gave up 6 hits and 3 runs. It really looked like the way things were set up. Thor for 7. Tapera came in for 8. Iggy picked up the save in 9. And they grabbed the win in the first game of the series, 4-3. Taylor Ward, who didn't make it into the top 5 in the All-Star voting, but I think he might very well make it as a reserve. Captain Caveman with a triple and a 3-for-4 night. Squid actually had an RBI. He can't hit anything. He's a great defensive player, and we'll talk about the bottom of the Angels lineup in a minute. Hey, Mike Trout was 0-for-4 with 3 strikeouts.
No.
The hell I say, right? Nope, that's true. He was there. Oh, by the way, Tim Anderson on base twice, 2 stolen bases. And I guess that doesn't include when he was on ghost running for the Angels, I guess. They faced up with Lucas Giolito, who gave up 2 runs to him, struck out 6 Angels over 6 innings pitched. So it was a pretty decent game overall. You felt like, okay, not what we were hoping coming out of a brawl the day before. We wanted you to come out and smack those guys from the south side of Chicago in the mouth because they're from the baddest part of town. They're tough.
Yeah, you want the smackdown, and they barely
they just squeaked by. They're a little too nice.
That's it. Yeah.
And so the next night they send Chase Silseth, who had a good first outing and okay second outing. He's showing that he needs more time in the minors. Needs to keep working it. Needs some AAA time because he's been pitching for the Trash Panda. And not that the Trash Pandas and AA isn't a good place, but eventually you need to play because you're going to see a lot of guys at AAA who are guys who are right on the verge or who have been in the show and know how to play in the show. So it's a little more a better competition, higher level of competition. He goes down after about 4 innings and gave up 5 hits and 3 runs. But part of the problem they had that night was a guy named Johnny Cueto, who I learned that night had never lost to the Angels in his career.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I am this days old that I learned that.
And you were hoping that the Angels would go, well, not tonight, Johnny. Brother. Not today, brother. Not today. Well, that didn't work. Nope. Although Mike Trout did go 1-for-4 and hit a home run. Shohei, 3-for-3, 2 RBIs, a home run, 2 doubles. And you would think, great. And it was a 3 home run night for the Angels. Squid, who I just was complaining about not being able to hits a home run. We're thinking, oh, this is awesome.
This is it.
Yeah, that was it. 4 runs. That was it.
The end.
Thank you for stopping by. The White Sox go on to thump the Angels 11-4. Luis Robert, 3-for-5 with a home run. Jose Abreu, Tim Anderson, heard that guy again, 3-for-6. Josh Harrison with a home run and 3 RBIs. Joe Kelly, I guess, thought that he was a Mariner because he threw a pitch in high and tight to Mike Trout that were like, that was kind of up towards his head. And I was like, well, that's Joe Kelly. Chances
He's trying to
are
get something started.
That's it. He's like, oh, you guys fought with the Mariners? Ooh, big deal. You want to fight with somebody?
Scary.
Hey, you've done nothing till you made me pout at you. And that is where it's at. So anyway, things didn't play out for him that day. But there were no brawls. I guess everybody knew that's Joe Kelly.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's just Joe being
just
Joe.
Joe. You almost walk away from it going, hey, I got JK'd. I got Joe Kelly'd. You almost feel, like Joe likes me. He really likes me.
But there were some tipped pitches.
Or were there?
I don't know. I'm kind of confused. Mike Trout thought there was.
Yes. Elvis Peguero comes in, and Elvis hasn't been having, let's just say that you could almost announce Elvis has left the building before Elvis ever gets in the building. Really. And, they leave him in there because, he's okay. I couldn't pitch probably as well as he does, but Elvis was pitching, and you may have seen this. You follow, things on Twitter, or it popped up on probably like Sports Center and MLB's shows. Mike thought that Elvis was tipping his pitches and was like out there like, hey, showing him, what are you doing? I mean, he's very demonstrative about it.
Yeah.
And he's been this season, he's been not afraid to show his confusion or disdain for whatever's happening. When Joe Madden walked
Corey Seager,
with the bases loaded walk, intentional walk, he was like, what? What's happening here?
Yeah.
He was not.
Where am I?
Right. Am I in the Twilight Zone? So he's like, ugh, okay. Now, if I'm Elvis Peguero and I'm the Angels, I'm going to go into the dugout when I'm asked about it because Mike Trout said it. Now, if it's Andrew Velasquez or Brandon Marsh, Captain Caveman out there, or David McKinnon, the rookie, I'm going to go, no, I was trying. This was a thing we were doing. Matt Wise and I knew, the pitching coach, knew it, and we were just working through to deceive the hitters, making them think I was tipping my pitch. Now, Mike Trout said this. I'm going to go in there and go, thanks to Mike, I realized what I was doing, and I fixed it. Because I'm not going to leave my leader. I'm not going to throw him under the bus like that. Like, hey, Mike, you're the only one that's fooled by this. No, nobody was fooled by it, because whether you were tipping your pitches or not, you're not that good. And they were hitting.
I've never heard of any pitcher tipping pitches on purpose.
Well, maybe they were doing it that way because they have to try something different. Nothing else is. So
why don't you tip your pitches?
I did. Why isn't Max Stassi or Kurt Suzuki or Matt Thaiss, who caught a little bit during the Houston series, why don't you just come back and do like in Sandlot? Here comes the number one, or Bull Durham. Yeah, here comes the deuce, Charlie. And when you speak of me, speak well. He's like, he teed off on it like he knew what I was going to pitch. It's like he did, because I told him, you're tipping your pitches anyway. We're just going to, hey, what do you think? Number one, why do we need the pitch comm or special signs? Change up. Yeah, change up. Whatever that is in Japanese for Shohei.
Right.
Curveball.
Yeah, just put it on the Jumbotron.
Or we could just have Ippei, his interpreter, just yell it from the dugout.
Yeah.
And then everybody who knows Japanese will know that it's the curveball. Anyway, so they don't win that night, although a little better offensive showing from the main two anyway. Game 3, Shohei on the mound. Now remember, last time he pitched, struck out 13, went 8 innings. This time he didn't go quite as far. He only went 5 2/3, but he didn't give up any runs, only 5 hits, and struck out 11.
Yeah.
Iggy comes in at the end of the game, grabs his 15th save on the season. Rengifo Luis has finally seemed to be getting past his struggles and had a good night. Home run, 2 for 3, 2 RBIs. Mike Trout with a double and an RBI. They struck out 16 times as a team, though. This is an issue that's coming up, and we'll talk a little bit more about it after we kind of roll through with the asterisks. And we'll just get it out of the way now. And if you don't already know, the asterisks swept the Angels. In the first 2 games, the Angels struck out, 12 times the first time, 16 times the second game. And then in the third game, struck out like a MLB record 20 times.
20 times to tie the major league record for a 9-inning game. The last time that happened, the Detroit Tigers did it in 2019.
Right, and that wasn't a very good team there either. That was a team that has a MVP on it. Miggy Cabrera was there.
Yeah. Well, the Angels, as of Sunday, have struck out 730 38 times, which is 34 more times than any other club. And their hitting coach says, things happen. It was just a bad day.
They talked to Phil Nevin. Now here's the deal with his thing. Phil can be around the team except at game times. So he's on the road with them. He'll be able to get back in the dugout for the last 2 games of the Baltimore series. He talks to them. He can talk to them before games. Then he stays at the hotel. He can talk to them after games, but he can't be around them during. And he was asked, and Sam Blum of The Athletic wrote an article that basically said the Angels have a toxic positivity problem. That was his byline. And Phil Nevin, who I guess wants this job long term, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. I think he'll almost be suspended as long as he was in the chair to start with. But he says it depends on the strikeout when he was asked about them striking out. It depends on the strikeout. And you're like, what do you mean? Well, it's better than a double play. And yeah, you're right there. It is better than a double play because it's only 1 out, not 2. However, with the way you guys are playing, it might as well be worth 2 outs. The next guy's going to strike out too, or there's a really good chance they're going to strike out based on how everything's going. And it makes me wonder, what's going on? What are they talking about? Mike Trout versus the Asterix, 0 for 11, 9 strikeouts. And yet he still has all-star and MVP numbers. So it says a lot about him. But, Mike, we need you to be doing more than hitting a home run here or a home run there. We need you to not be striking out. These guys, when you're on it, maybe these guys will follow you.
The other question I have is about the lineup for the Angels. There's not a consistent lineup. It doesn't seem like. There was with Joe Madden, I think for the most part, but now there's not a consistent lineup. And I don't know if that has anything to do with what's going on as far as offensively. I would think it has something because at least you know where you are and you want to put your top 3 guys, 1, 2, 3. But like on Sunday, the Angels picked up Jonathan Villar, and he batted, he was the lead off, 0 for 3. Got a walk and had 2 strikeouts. And then Trout, 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts. Ohtani, 1 for 4, 2 strikeouts. I mean, it was just, I don't see the logic of the lineup. It's almost like it's a dartboard. And there's some guys that are consistent, like, okay, yeah, you're going to be the number 2 or number 3 hitter.
Well, you always know pretty much Trout, Ohtani, right, Jared Walsh. And then Taylor Ward had gotten in there where he was leading off a lot or, batting 4th sometimes with Walsh at 5. But even then, it didn't really matter what happened up there because if you had Taylor Ward and batting leadoff, followed by Trout, then Ohtani, then Walsh, and then nothing. Yeah. Max Stassi, who had been pretty consistent, is batting 100. 150, I think now. He's not hitting anything. He's not. I'm just wondering what happened that none of these guys and that whole bottom part of the order is just like, hey, we just get through the first couple of guys, and Mike Trout's not even doing anything, so we'll be okay. It doesn't really matter who we throw at him. Yeah, and I have to wonder about the hitting coach. If I was in management of the Angels, I'd be talking to the hitting coach, especially with what he's saying, because he doesn't seem, in the interview I read, he doesn't seem too concerned. Well, it doesn't sound like any of them sound concerned. You just heard Phil Nevin. Well, yeah. It's better than a double play. Okay. But he's just like, they're busting their butts. They're getting out there. They're doing the work.
And they just had a bad day. But they had 3 bad days.
Then they had 6 bad days. They had 14 bad days in a row.
Right.
At some point.
In this series with the Astros, 48 times they struck out. 48 times across 3 games.
I know it's insane what they're doing. And when you go through and you look, pitching wise, Michael Lorenzen, only 3 innings, gave up 8 runs in those 3 innings. Patrick Sandoval, kind of a standard, struck out 9, but he gave up 5 runs over 5 innings. And then Andrew Wantz and Aaron Loop giving up 2 runs each. There's so many issues. Like I said, Luis Rengifo was one of the players that kind of came through and provided. In the last game, they scored 2 runs. He hit a home run. They called up Michael Stefanik, who was somebody who was on the bubble to be part of the team and then went to the minors, and 0 for 3 strikeouts. They DFA'd Captain Jack, who wasn't doing anything either. So it's not like it was a great loss or like, whoa, what'd you do that for? So they DFA'd him to bring up Stefanik. Tyler Wade, who we mentioned earlier, DFA'd for Jonathan Villar. And the Asterisks, I hate it, but they've got a good, solid team.
Yeah, they do.
And the pitching, I was actually surprised when I saw that we had scored 2 runs versus the Asterisks, because Framber Valdez was on the mound. Now he still ends up going for 6 innings and only gave up those 2 runs. And part of the problem for them, for the Angels, is that Michael Jeremy Pena, he went 4 for 5 and hit 2 home runs in the game. But the other guys, the game before, it's Altuve, Tucker, McCormick, Maldonado. Maldonado hit 2 home runs in that game. And even Martin Maldonado, who was an Angel for about a year and a half, had something to say about Mike Trout. He said, I've never seen him like this. In the time that I played with him, he never did this. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, he's just looking at pitches.
Well,
just right down the middle.
They were talking about this, about how sometimes players are off with the batter's eye, which is usually center field, whatever it is. It's dark out there. There's nothing on it. In Houston, it's green with the wall, and then they've got like a hedge kind of thing there, and it's got a star. It's got that Houston star in it. And Mike Trout's watching pitch go right down the middle. And it's like, it just seems like he doesn't see the ball there at all. And that Minute Maid is really the exact opposite of T-Mobile in Seattle for him, where he seems to see everything. And it's just, I don't know what you do with it. He's off completely. Over the week, he was 2 for 19. 1 home run, 10 strikeouts with a 105 batting average. He didn't walk once. They didn't even intentionally walk him at some point, which of course is because nobody was getting on base around him anyway. So it wasn't a big deal. Shohei, on the other hand, batting .300, 6 for 20, 4 walks, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 4 RBIs. So he's carrying his part of the load, but Mike's fallen off. Where do we go from here? And the whole bottom part of this lineup, at one point you would have thought this was a team. And the pitching, is it just a slump time for the pitching? Thor is pitching consistently, but it's not great. Sometimes it's not even that good. But he's able to stay in there and pitch long enough so that we're not using up a lot of the bullpen, because the bullpen's down too. And there's not really a lot of places there. There's teams that, and when we talk about the Dodgers, we'll talk about the bullpen and some positives that are coming, or that if they could get one guy. this team needs a lot of players at the trade deadline. And the question is, what are they going to do? They really don't have anybody they can trade. That would be like, hey, so we could get another frontline starter or a bat. There's no idea what's going to happen when David Fletcher comes back, because a lot of teams had figured out David Fletcher. Is he going to be able to get back in there and help towards the bottom of the lineup and get things going? It's ridiculous.
Yes. And there's so many questions, and firing Joe Madden, was that supposed to answer questions? I think it just made more questions and maybe even made things worse.
Yeah, I think so too. So the Angels will head to Miami, or they did by the time you listen to this, and then to Baltimore for 4 over the weekend, starting today. And we'll talk about that next week. Hopefully they can maybe turn around, get a couple of wins on the road, because when they come back home, they're going to have to deal with Houston again. And they can't take Houston on in the same state that they're in now. Houston has been right there with them or just in front of them. And in head-to-head, if they had stayed with them all this time, head-to-head and beat them, they could have taken over. But at this point, all they're doing is finding themselves dropping farther and farther. And the only thing that they can be happy about is that the A's really just gave away everybody, and will probably give away more, at least a couple pitchers by the end, by the trade deadline. So I don't see them being buyers. I see them probably standing pat. And if they do make any moves, it'll be like this pitcher that they picked up from Atlanta this last week. I don't even remember his name. Touki Toussaint, and he went to AAA. Who knows what he'll do, but I'm sure he'll be up before the end of the season. So let's take a look at Player of the Week. You have one?
I do, and I went through everything, and I went with Taylor Ward because he seemed to be most consistent as far as at least getting a hit in, or a run, scoring a run. He was 6 for 17, so 352 batting average. He did have a double. I mean, it's not stellar. He
did hit a home run. He was the one run in the 9-1 loss in Game 2 versus Houston.
So but he contributed, and so that's what I was looking for, was some consistency, and so I went with Taylor Ward.
Yeah, he was one of 3 hits in that game. They only had 2 hits in Game 1. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't get it. Now, I had considered Taylor Ward because, yes, he's there and he's been consistent. He's it felt like he fell off, but he's been more consistent overall than Mike Trout's been recently. And I didn't go that route. I went with Luis Rengifo this time, just simply because his name popped up a couple times where he had a hit here and a hit there. A home run was the reason why the Angels had a lead in that last game versus Houston. 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, and a 273 batting average for the week. So that's my guy. I would be more than happy to every week rotate between giving it to Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, Jared Walsh, Taylor Ward, between those 4, or at least those top 3. If we could get those guys doing something consistently every week, and losses or not, if they could at least be carrying the team like we would love them to, that would be fantastic.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
So the Dodgers left out of Atlanta after conquering the Braves. They rolled through Atlanta like Sherman did, mostly. The problem is, though, they played the late Sunday game. So they get into Colorado because it's an all NL West week. They play the Rockies in Denver and then go home for the Padres. They get there. It's hard to adjust to Denver anyway. From what I understand, they didn't get there till like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And then you get to the room and then you try to settle in and, so it was a short day, and it's hard to get yourself acclimated. Tyler Anderson took the hill for the Dodgers on game 1 as the Rockies were celebrating the Avalanche winning the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And
very exciting.
So they were inspired by seeing an actual championship trophy there, which has been there before because the Avalanche have won the Stanley Cup before. Unlike the Rockies have never won a piece of metal from the MLB. But they seemed inspired, and Tyler Anderson was tired. 6 innings, gave up 10 hits and 4 runs. Former Angel Jose Iglesias with a home run, and Chad Kuhl did something, a rarity. Complete game.
Yeah. 9 innings, gave up 3 hits, no runs, had 5 strikeouts. He was cool on the mound, cooled the Dodgers bats for sure. They couldn't do anything with him. Freddie Freeman was 1 for 4, and Gavin Lux was 2 for 3 with a double. That was pretty much the excitement as far as offense was concerned, but they were shut out. And I really, to be honest, I didn't think that the Dodgers were going to do well in this game because of playing late the Sunday night game, and then they went into innings. So I didn't have much hope that they, it's always want them to pull out a win, but it was like, they just looked tired. They just were listless.
If they could have followed up the next night strong, that probably would have made some of the difference. Now, they did play a little bit better the next night. Freddie was 2 for 5. But Kyle Freeland, who seems to kind of have their number a lot of times, 6 hits and 3 runs is all he gave up over 6 innings. Kirsch on the mound only went 4 innings. He gave up 9 hits and 6 runs.
2 home runs.
Yeah.
And he said, they asked him after the game, they said, do you think it was because you're pitching here at Coors Field? And he said, I don't think it would have mattered where I pitched. It was going to be bad.
At least he was honest.
Yeah, he did. He owned up to it. But yeah, a little better result. 7-4. Freeland did give up 2 home runs in that game to Hanser Alberto and to Max Muncy. Trey Turner had a home run late in that game, but not enough to pull them through. Yeah.
Yep.
Couldn't do it. They needed the 2 days to acclimate themselves from the time zone change, and then maybe the elevation. I don't know.
Maybe a little of both. Yep. And then the thing that I kind of raised an eyebrow about was like, well, they haven't looked that good overall in 2 games. And now Herman Marquez hits the mound, and he's pretty tough as well. But he only lasted a little over 3 innings, gave up 5 hits and 5 runs to the Dodgers.
Yeah, I was concerned too in this third game when I saw Marquez was on the mound. The Rockies have always played the Dodgers tough, and especially they play them tough when they're, at home. And German Marquez only 3 1/3. I think there was something going on. Maybe, if I remember right, maybe a blister. Something was happening with his hands. So
That's right.
got
I did
taken
see
out of
him
the
leave
game.
with the trainer.
Yeah. Julio Urias, though, was on the mound. His last outing at Coors Field was disastrous at the beginning of the season. This time, better results. 5 1/3 innings, gave up 6 hits, did give up 3 runs, had 5 strikeouts, but did look better on the mound as he has been looking as he's gone through his starts. And then the bullpen came in. Brewster Gratterall gave up 2 hits, but no runs. It was Reyes Maranta who gave up one of those runs. I think he gave up a home run. So, and then David
at least
Price,
only one more run.
That was it. Yeah, one more. But
home runs from Freddie, Will Smith, and Cody Bellinger in that game, and then Trey Turner. Once again, that guy's name keeps popping up for some reason.
Yeah, Trey Turner. He was 1 for 5, 2 RBIs, and just being really consistent with that top spot there. Freddie Freeman 2 for 4, as you mentioned, a home run. It did start raining, and you could hear lightning. There's no thunder, just lightning, and you could hear the whole crowd go boo, like they're like, no, we want this.
Maybe
game.
they were trying to provide the thunder sound.
Maybe they were.
How they sounded like was in Colorado. Maybe thunder sounds like boo.
Maybe it did good.
Not sure.
So Belly's home run came in the rain as the umpires were letting him play through the mountain rain.
Nice. So they wrap up with a win, 8-4, and head home to take on the Padres, and body bags to be given out, as well as, I believe, the Trey Turner bobblehead during the homestand, and those Jose Altuve size cross body bags. I keep forgetting that part.
Cross body. That is the important part of that. And not, if you just say body bags, that is concerning.
So the we didn't talk too much about pitchers that could be starting in the All-Star game, but the Dodgers had to face somebody who probably will be part of the All-Star staff in Joe Musgrove from the Padres. And really, there was really only one guy to talk about offensively in this game.
One guy, and he's not that big of a deal. He's not a big, and he's not a big threat. Not a big threat.
No.
And that would be Justin Turner, the Garden Gnome.
Yes, that's any. Apparently Musgrove thought he was going to hit like one. Funny enough, who hits the best in the lineup against Joe Musgrove? Justin Turner. So apparently analytics aren't working for you there in San Diego's. Bob Melvin not sharing the information. Joe Musgrove, 3 for 3.
So. Yeah.
And 2 home runs. Is that right?
2 home runs. He was the offense. They had 3 runs, and they were all Justin Turner's doing.
Jake Lamb did get a triple in that game.
Yep.
But JT was it. Mitch White was on the hill to start it all, and then that was kind of becomes a bullpen game after that.
But I will say about Mitch White, I mean, he went 4 2/3 innings. He gave up 6 hits, but he held the Padres to 1 run, and so and had 3 strikeouts. So he looked more confident on the mound, And Manny Machado strikeouts 3 in this game.
Nice.
Strikeout watch is 3.
So it looks like they're feeling pretty good about being back home at the Ravine. This is a series that they want to win because the Padres are a team that can be on their heels potentially the rest of the season. We'll see how they do. They were that way last season, then faded off pretty strong, and that got Jock Peterson slapped. So we'll have to see, if somebody's going to get slapped after the Padres fall off this season. But they come out and hold the Padres to only 1 run for the second night.
Yeah. Second night, 1 run. Tony Gonsolin is on the mound, and he goes 7 2/3 innings. I think it's his longest outing of the season. Gives up 4 hits, only run 1 run, and that was a home run to Trent Grisham. But he had 8 strikeouts. And then Evan Phillips comes in, and Craig Kimbrell comes in and does his job and saves the game.
Doesn't blow the save.
No, doesn't
It wasn't
blow
a
the
save
save
opportunity, though.
It wasn't a save opportunity, but he didn't
blow
mess it up.
his time. He did. There you go. Well, at least he didn't mess it up. Or as Bob Uecker said in Major League, well, you got to give it to him. At least he didn't spike himself.
That's true.
So,
Max
yeah.
Muncy had a home run in this game. Cody Bellinger had a home run in this game.
And they win in spite of not a bad outing from Blake Snell, who struck out 12 Dodgers.
Yeah.
He had 12 Ks in that game.
12 Ks, but he comes up on the losing end. I mean, he has I think it's 0-6 is his record. He just, when he pitches, he's striking batters out, but they're not winning the game for Blake.
Nope. So he takes that loss. Tony Gonsolin, first 10-game winner in National League, I think in MLB. He's got the lowest ERA in the National League, and right now I would say he'd be an odds-on favorite for starter for the National League.
Oh yeah, I think so too. I think also we could also put in there Julio Urias as somebody that might be on the pitching staff for the All-Star game. He's been really consistent. Started out not great on the season, but has shown consistency since then. Has looked really good. Strikeout watch for Manny Machado. He was a pinch hitter in this game, and he struck out.
Oh, yeah, another one. All right, so we go to game 3 of this 4-game series, and once again, the Dodgers don't seem to be giving in. They are raining on the potential parade through the gas lamp. And as there was a post, I know you sent me. It was a tweet it was a fake tweet. It was a fake account like that, or a parody account.
Yeah.
And they had said that Manny Machado said he wasn't about to miss out on the series with the Dodgers because this is like our World Series.
And it was a parody account, but that quote seems so real. Like he would totally say that.
It really did feel like it. So the Dodgers do him in again, 7-2. They let him get one more run this time.
They did on this one. Luke Voigt, we talked about him maybe being in a home run derby, had a home run. Tyler Anderson on the mound, 6 1/3 innings, looked a lot better at home than in Colorado. Gave up 6 hits, 1 run, 6 strikeouts in this game, and a lot of home runs. We had back-to-back home runs from Freddie Freeman and Will Smith, and JT had a home run.
Right. And then I wanted to mention in the game before, Trace Thompson has been swinging a pretty decent bat, and I want to make sure he gets a little love there because he's, hasn't always done that, and he's back, and he's been actually a pretty decent contributor. He's actually been a good pickup overall with the way that he's been playing.
I think, he was in that 5-1 game win. He was 2 for 4 in that game. And he's coming up and he's getting these hits where, they need him. And then it like starts something. It'll start a rally or, it'll start something. And he's looking a lot better. And I think he's really well liked in the clubhouse. Everybody likes him. They enjoy playing with him. So I really hope for him that he, that this is a long-term thing for him. I liked Trace Thompson when he was on the Dodgers before, and things just didn't work out, but things are looking better.
That's good. Yeah, it's good. I hope for him too that he's able to stick around and continue to contribute. They took out former Dodger Yu Darvish in that game. Like I said, 7-2 for the finale of the 4-game set. Well, one good thing going into it, Mookie Betts back from his cracked rib. And before we get anywhere, we saw something and we never found out what happened with Dave Roberts and Max Muncy. And Dave was like hands talking. He was hand talking. And he was like, and it's very demonstrative. And it seemed like Max wasn't like arguing back. They were having a conversation. So I don't know what was going on. Maybe not that big of a deal. Nobody talked about it that I ever saw.
Yeah, I never saw what happened. I saw at one point Dave Roberts had his hands together, almost like he was pleading. I don't know that that's what he was doing.
Hit the ball.
Yes, please hit the ball. Please. I wish we could have found that out, because in Sunday's game, he had another conversation
exactly
similar with Gavin Lux.
But that one, we knew what it was about, even if we didn't know what he was saying.
Right.
As we just mentioned, Mookie Betts back off of the IL with a cracked rib, which came from colliding with somebody else.
Right, Cody Bellinger.
Field, right?
Yep.
So, and this is something that I've seen Gavin Lux do many times before. We talked about it last season with him in the outfield. So there's a ball that's hit shallow-ish right field. Well, Mookie's coming up on it. It's Mookie's ball. You can see Mookie saying, "It's my ball." Gavin Lux is going back for it. Apparently, Gavin Lux has clogged up ears when he goes after fly balls, because he's almost on top of Mookie before, and you would think if he knew as Mookie's coming towards him, he would go off to, as you're looking at the screen, to the left of Mookie. But instead, he kind of cuts in front of Mookie to get out of the way. Now, Mookie makes the catch, but it could have distracted him.
It could have, yeah.
He could have run into Mookie even then, because he still was very close. And when he got back to the dugout, and they did talk about this on air.
Yes.
About Doc going off on Lux. Like, we just got the guy back from a cracked rib and you're out there trying to take him out again. You're not a linebacker.
Yeah. And he was like face
to
face with him. When he was talking to Max Muncy, there was a little bit of a distance, but he was, talking with his hands. This time he had his hands his arms like on Lux's shoulders, looking at him in the eye, and like, don't take Mookie out.
Or
Don't
take anybody out.
Right.
Stop doing this.
But he has that. It's like, you're at this position, you're second base. You don't need to go for that ball. That's not where you play. But he's done this like multiple times.
And he did it a couple of weeks ago with Cody Bellinger.
Yeah.
And Cody saw what was going on and slid. And the way it looked from different angles, it looked like it went off of Gavin Lux and then, off of Cody's knee or something. It didn't hit him, but he disrupted the play. And Cody he slid because he thought Gavin's just going to hit me. And I've already been run into him last season by him, because I think he got injured last season when Gavin ran into him.
Cody Bellinger didn't he have a crack rib because Gavin Lux ran into it last season?
Right. And so it's just like he got down and out of the way. So Mookie, though, has a pretty decent game besides that scare. 2 for 3, walked twice, scored 2 runs. So back to Mookie. 3 for 4 for Trey and an RBI. Will Smith, no home runs this game, but he did get hit by a pitch twice.
Yeah. And once in the head. I mean, he ducked. It hit him. It hit the back of the helmet. It was still scary, but he was like, I think Alfaro was the catcher, and he's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And Will Smith's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." But it's still scary stuff. Who was on the mound? Clayton Kershaw.
Oh, I thought you meant the Padres. Gore was on the mound for the Padres. Yeah, Clayton Kershaw. And I think he was like much better than he was in Colorado.
He was so much better. 7 innings, gave up 4 hits, no runs, 8 strikeouts. So looked a lot better in the game. And they were up. They were winning 1-0. 1-0. They were winning. And Craig Kimbrell comes in, and they were losing.
And so they end up taking 3 of 4. So it's not bad, but it is tough when it's a team like that you have, that kind of a relationship with the Padres. But at least they beat them the 3 of the 4. The only 2 teams they seem to not be able to beat consistently, one they don't have to play again this season, is the Pirates.
Right.
And then the Rockies seem to have their number as well. If they can beat the Padres and the Giants and then the Diamondbacks, it won't really matter what they do with the Rockies. Or will it? Because you don't want to go into the All-Star game on a losing streak to anybody. And we are a couple weeks away, but they have to see the Rockies again.
Yeah.
In this next home series, they've got the Rockies for 3, and then the Cubbies coming in, and we get to see the in the park home run, Sayuki. Is that Suzuki? Sayuki? I'm messing up his name.
Yeah,
anyway.
He's back. He was out for about a month with a finger injury, and he had a really cool inside the park home run. Cubs didn't win that game, but still cool.
They're in the ravine for 4 before the Dodgers hit the road. One of those will be taken on the Angels right before the All-Star break. So who's your player of the week this week?
I went with Justin Turner. 388, 5 RBIs, 3 home runs. Love seeing JT back. Hitting those home runs, getting those hits when they need them. So JT, my player of the week.
I'm with you there. The swagger. I like seeing when JT's on top of things and leading the club. So I too went with JT.
A couple of other Dodger news. Austin Barnes Cuz, as we call him, he signed a 2-year extension. So he will be around. And Trey Turner says that he is the captain of the club. He doesn't take on that moniker. Says, no, I'm not. But Trey Turner says otherwise. And so the captain.
T-shirts made up. So that
Captain Cuz, we'll call him, is back with the Dodgers for another 2 years. And then, of course, we cannot leave the Dodgers segment without talking about the ongoing Freddie Freeman drama that he says, I guess he fired his agent because of the whole free agency deal. But then he said it remained fluid. So I don't know what that means. Then there was there were some rumors out there that his agents didn't give him the full, all of the offers, and that's what he was told when he was in Atlanta. Atlanta said, "Oh, well, we did try to give you, we tried."
Well, and apparently as far back as the All-Star break last season, they had made some offers to keep him there. And so they're throwing his management under the bus. And of course, his management comes out and says, step back.
That's right. Step off. They're saying
right. Step off, George.
It's a false narrative is what agent Casey Close is accusing the Atlanta Braves.
Didn't he tell the Braves that he had brought sandwiches also? Okay, sorry.
Anyway,
Seinfeld moment. I guess it'd be the other way, that the Braves told Freddie, we even brought sandwiches to share with Casey.
Yeah.
And now Casey's telling us to step off.
Step off. Yeah. He says that he communicated all of the offers from the Braves to Freddie Freeman. I don't know who to believe. I think in some ways, the Braves there's a little bit more on the Braves on this one, because they probably could be saying, hey, we had these offers and your agent just didn't do it. But they were very quick to get Matt Olson, and not only get Matt Olson, but to sign him to an extension.
Right, yeah,
really
they didn't
quick.
Fool around.
No. So I think that there's some stuff going on with the Braves that is not a full story. And your agent, I don't know these agents, these guys, they said, I've been an agent, 30 years. This is my livelihood. Why would I do that? I don't, why would I do that to a client? So, I look at it that way too.
Number one, if Freddie was that hell-bent on getting back to the Braves, and he's not getting information from his agent, doesn't he have the number?
Well, couldn't he just walk to the office?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
So
I think there's contacted
also
the Braves, or he could have gone into the office of either and said, look, my representation says there's nothing going on. You're not doing anything. I want to know what's going on. What's happening? I want to be here. Do you guys want me to be here? And then there could have been, they could have come up with a solution to it. And honestly, if I'm the Braves from a baseball and a management standpoint, I just got Matt Olson cheaper, didn't give up that much for him overall, and he's younger. I have a younger version of you, Freddie Freeman.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I think there is blame that, he needs to own, Freddie Freeman needs to own, to say, okay, if Right. If you really want to stay somewhere, then you're going to do what you need to do. You're not just going to rely on your agent. Or if you think that your agent isn't giving you the whole story,
Right.
you're right there. So
And I would
why
think
aren't you talking?
Right. And I would think too that if his wife, who seems like she would have gone to Atlanta and talked to the management and the ownership.
Yeah.
If
She could have,
they really
he could
wanted
have sent
to,
her.
and I think she would have. I'm not surprised. So it seems to me like this just needs to go away. Freddie's still playing consistently, but I think he needs to. I don't think it's going to get resolved this year in his head. He's got to play the whole season and then start fresh, not coming into spring training in progress. Start fresh with them and go from there. What would be nice is if the Dodgers could make it deep into the playoffs, walk away with a piece of metal, and him be a back-to-back World Series champion and have a ring from his new team.
That would be really nice. Yeah.
And be part of the solution going forward.
I will say that he does seem in some ways, like especially offensively, there's a lot of things, they get on base and all teams do this. They have like a little gesture. And he didn't really do that. And he's doing that now.
I've seen him tapping his head every once in a while.
Yeah. You see Trey Turner doing that too. So yeah, you're seeing that more. And but yeah, I think you're right. I think it's going to be a full season to get him right, to know that it's better in Dodger blue.
It's the beginning of a new month, and it's time for the Around the Baseball segment. So you know what that means. Players, pitchers, relievers, hot dog vendors, groundskeepers of the month.
Yes.
Who's
that's
first?
Exactly what it means. We got players of the month first, and that would be Astros Yordan Alvarez, who is the American League Player of the Month, and Phillies outfielder Kyle Schwarber, who is the National League Player of the Month. Alvarez, who leads baseball with a 1.070 OPS, batted .418 in June with 9 home runs, 28 RBIs, with the same number of walks as strikeouts. So 13 walks, 13 strikeouts. On the season, Alvarez is second in baseball in home runs with 23, fifth in RBIs, and first in slugging. And then we have Kyle Schwarber, who is really picking up the slack since Bryce Harper is out with a broken thumb. He batted .272 in June, slugging 12 home runs, the most any batter hit in June, and drove 27 RBIs. He had an OPS of plus 189, and he finished the month with 2 multi-home run games. And he helped lead Philadelphia to an 18-9 record in June. That puts them into playoff contention. And he's batting .221 with 23 home runs and 51 RBIs. And this is interesting. This is his second straight year winning June's National League Player of the Month. Last year, he was with the Nationals and won. He was June's National League Player of the Month, so he must like June.
June consistency. We know what Schwarber's doing every June.
That's right.
Now can we get him to do it in August, September, and hopefully October?
That's what the Phillies are hoping. We also have pitchers of the month, and that would be Marlins right-hander Sandy Alcantara and White Sox righty Dylan Cease. Alcantara threw at least 7 innings in each of his 6 starts in June, extending his streak to 10 consecutive outings with 7+ innings. He threw 9 scoreless innings in Miami's extra innings win over the Nationals on June 8th. And he closed the month with a complete game victory over the Cardinals. He went 3-1 with a 1.89 ERA, a .88 WHIP, 34 strikeouts, and 8 walks over 47 2/3 innings in June. And he would also be an all-star candidate from the Marlins. And then Dylan Cease, he allowed only 1 earned run over 27 1/3 innings in June, had a .33 ERA with 45 strikeouts and a 192 opponent's batting average. In his final 2 starts of the month, he struck out 24 of the 46 batters he faced, and he gave up 1 run in 13 innings. Now for Peanut Vendor of the Month is Joe Schnotsky from the Philadelphia Phillies.
He's my favorite peanut vendor ever. I have a Joe Schnotsky's t-shirt.
No, we're going to go with relievers of the month.
Oh, wait, you said he's
and
in
that
Philly?
was-
I thought he was with the Cubs. Maybe they traded him.
I think he actually was a free agent and got a better offer in Philly. Relievers of the month, the Guardians' Emmanuel Clace and the Mets' Edwin Diaz are the relievers of the month for their respective leagues. Clace was as close to perfect as you could come in June. He held batters scoreless across 15 innings of work. He allowed only 7 hits the entire month, and batters hit 137 against him. And he also leads the American League with 18 saves, and 11 of those came in June. And then Edwin Diaz allowed 1 run in 9 2/3 innings. He converted all 5 of his save opportunities in June and had a .93 WHIP. He ranks in the 100th percentile in whip rate and strikeout rate. Pretty impressive. We also have the Lemonade Vendor of the Month.
Now, is it regular lemonade or the frozen lemonade?
No, it's got to be the frozen. That's the only way you're considered for this award. Is you have to. There is some controversy on this award because it has to be frozen and not just regular. And that'd be Sandy
I guess if
Jones.
it starts out frozen and ends up regular,
right?
then
Sandy
you're
Jones.
really not in the running. Sandy Jones?
In Miami.
Frozen lemonade.
Apparently
big.
she sings. While she's handing out your lemonade.
Sweet.
But that leads us to the Rookies of the Month, and that is no surprise here. Mariners center fielder Julio Rodriguez and Michael Harris II from the Braves. For the National League, Rodriguez was better in June than he was in May. He had 7 home runs, 16 RBIs, 22 runs scored, and 5 steals in 29 games. And in the National League, Harris, who came up in May, I think May 28th, is hitting .347 with 4 home runs, 4 stolen bases, 16 RBIs, 18 runs scored, and a .945 OPS in 27 games. And I have one more.
What could it be? What could it be?
The Cotton Candy Vendor of the Month, Lou Schultz from the Chicago Cubs.
Oh, wow, Lou.
Did you see Lou when you went to Wrigley?
I did, yeah. He's
He's a nice
he's a
guy.
fixture. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah. Sweet
Always
Lou.
quick with
That's
that
what they
cotton
call
candy.
him.
Yep, sweet Lou, cotton candy Lou. It works either way. So there you go. That's all the players of the month and concessionaires of the month. How about players of the week?
Philly's first baseman didn't want to, lose out to the peanut vendor. So Rice Hoskins got in the running for player of the week. And then, of course, the peanut vendor was of the month. So he's a step above Reese Hoskins. And Mariners outfielder Julio Rodriguez, players of the week. Hoskins this is the first time that he has claimed this honor. He led the majors in home runs with 4, slugging percentage of 1.158, and an OPS of 1.678 last week. And Rodriguez, 1.273 OPS with 3 homers, 7 runs, 6 RBIs last week. He also added 1 stolen base to his American League best total of 20 steals. So Rookie of the Month and Player of the Week for Julio Rodriguez.
Could be on his way to a second Rookie of the Month award. You never know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a quick look around the minor leagues. Rangers, single A club, the Down East Wood Ducks had a interesting triple play, a 1-4-3-2 triple play. So I see you going over that in your head.
Yeah.
It's so the ball's hit back to the pitcher. The pitcher turns, throws to second base. Second baseman gets it, goes to first. So that's 1 out, 2 outs. First baseman turns and guns home, and the catcher gets the runner that's trying to sneak in, and they get the triple play on a 1-4-3-2 triple play. The Down East Wood Ducks are in Kinston, North Carolina. Dodgers rookie sensation, not even minor league sensation. A lot of people pining for him to be up to the big club already. Fireballer Bobby Miller K'd 10 batters over 6 innings. Now here's the interesting part. He didn't give up any runs. He only gave up 2 hits, and he walked 3, and Tulsa lost 14-4. It was a pitcher's duel between the 2 teams, and then once the starters came out, things fell apart, and Tulsa lost that one 14-4. And then finally, as far as the minor leagues go, Brian O'Keefe, the Mariners AAA catcher for Tacoma, hit 3 home runs and a walk-off single for a big, crazy night versus the Salt Lake City Bees, AAA affiliate of
the Angels.
Exactly. So we talked earlier about the Pirates. We actually talked about one of the Pirates that might be a good home run derby contestant in Jack Sawinski, the rookie. Big June. The way that you kept seeing things coming out about the Pirates, you would have thought that the Pirates were leading their division.
Yeah. Just they weren't, but just crazy stuff. I mean, you got to do something in Pittsburgh to keep them coming to the ballpark. And so Jack Sawinski hit his 3 homers on Father's Day and, had the walk-off. And then a day after, Brian Reynolds hit 3 home runs. And this is his real name. Michael Perez followed up with 3 home runs of his own.
Now, see, there's a June to remember.
That is a June to remember.
So the Pirates
like the
look really good at times, but yet they're still not really good. No.
Well, the 3 of these, the Brian Reynolds, Michael Perez, and then Jack Sawinski, they made the Pirates become the first team in American League, National League history to have 3 different players have 3 homer games in the same month. No other team in 2022 has had more than 1 instance of a player hitting 3 home runs in the same month. So, wow. Pretty cool for the Pirates.
Yeah, no, it's cool for the Pirates. It does make them a lot more watchable. And unfortunately, it does make Brian Reynolds much more tradable.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, Reynolds, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a couple other guys from the team. Sawinski is a rookie, so there's not a lot of reason to trade him money-wise. Nope. But Reynolds, I think, might be on the block when we get to trade time frame, which is early August. Interesting. We've talked about that brunch ball or breakfast baseball obviously depending on where you live. But the Peacock app, NBC's Peacock app, has Sunday morning baseball.
Yeah, NBC had the broadcast rights to the Detroit Tigers and Kansas City Royals game for brunch ball. But this time they decided to change things up a bit, and there was no color commentary and there was no play-by-play. Some people really liked it, and some people were wondering what was going on. Some people said, it's just the sounds of the game. It's relaxing. Somebody said, I wish this was an option on all games. And somebody said it's relaxing, but it's kind of weird. And I think fan-sided contributor Mike Phillips, who tweeted out, Peacock selling this as an experience when they probably just didn't want to pay 3 announcers to work a game between 2 of MLB's worst teams. That's probably correct.
There's some of that too, but they just use the feed from the local channel, usually the home team anyway.
The reason that they did that is because this game, because it was going to be on Peacock, it wasn't going to be on, I think it's Bally Sports and Midwest, or, because Bally is everywhere. And so it wasn't going to be on they didn't have their announcers working. So they just went with a announcerless game. And like I said, a lot of people liked it.
It's not the first time this has happened, and I can't tell you when it happened exactly, but they did that. I think it was NBC did that with an NFL game, no announcers.
Oh.
And so they've done it before. NBC has done this before. No announcers, you just watch the game. Now it's a little harder with football than it is with baseball because you can kind of watch things develop. You can watch things happen. A lot of times it depends on camera angles. It is nice sometimes to have a little bit of information, but to kind of go through it and watch yourself. I wish I had remembered that and actually logged in to watch that game. All right. Before we get dizzy, looks like somebody might be done being dizzy for a little while. Jacob deGrom had a rehab start at the Mets single A club, Port St. Lucie. He was out there when he was warming up. Members of the staff came out and stood behind him and watched him warm up just to see how it worked. He struck out 5 of the 6 that he faced. Of the 24 pitches, he had 12 swing and misses of 24 strikes, but he pitched out. He K'd 5, and then he topped out at 101. So the Mets might be just that much closer to being scary.
Yeah, he's expected. They think he's going to make about 4 rehab starts. If everything goes well, looks like he'll be back after the All-Star break.
And then another person that I'd like to interject with on the wheel of
All right, spinning on the wheel this week, we have Zach Davies of the Arizona Diamondbacks, who's on the 15-day IL with right shoulder inflammation. Atlanta's Adam Duvall is on the wheel, can hop off, but he is day-to-day. He has a hand injury. He was hit by a pitch. It is not broken, so that's good news for the Braves, but he is day-to-day because he's got some swelling in that hand. And the Red Sox, Rich Hill, our old friend, Rich Hill, is on the 15-day IL with knee soreness. And then in Colorado, Antonio Senzatella is on the 15-day IL with shoulder tightness. I just like to say his name, Antonio Senzatella. In Houston, Michael Brantley is on the 10-day with shoulder issues. And with the Dodgers, you've got Chris Taylor, who is day-to-day with an ankle injury. He had gotten hit in the foot So he had a contusion on his foot, and then it looks like he injured his ankle, his ankle. And so they're looking at that, hoping
on his ankle.
Yeah, that's right. Hoping that he does not go on the IL. Craig Kimbrell was hit in the back by a line drive, and he is day-to-day, which probably is good because he won't be pitching.
Right. Now,
so
speaking of relievers, Dodger relievers, potentially good news. Blake Trinan is actually starting his throwing program.
Yes, that is good news.
What I heard recently was maybe the beginning of August.
Yes. Yeah, hopefully. We need him back. Caleb Ferguson, it looks like, is going to be coming off the IL. So hopefully he'll be a help there. And Andrew Haney is starting to do some bullpen sessions. So hopefully he can get back in the lineup or the rotation there. Got several guys that are day-to-day. Anthony Rizzo is listed as day-to-day. He with lower back stiffness. In Oakland, this one caught my eye. Frankie Montas. We hear a lot about him maybe being traded at some point. He is day-to-day right now. Had some shoulder tightness. He will have an MRI. They're hoping that it's nothing major. But
because they want to
there's
get
a lot of clubs.
Maximum for
right.
him.
Exactly. Kurt Casale has a right oblique strain.
Oh, Blackie. Oh, Blacka. Oh, my side. Oh, ow, my side.
So he's not going to be catching. He'll probably be out for about a month. Anthony Del Scalfani is out for the season with an ankle injury. He's been dealing with that ankle injury pretty much all season. Toronto's Kevin Gossman is day-to-day with an injured right ankle. He's having problems on the mound. So we'll look and see if maybe next week if he shows up on the IL. Juan Soto also listed as day-to-day with a calf strain. So lots of guys that day-to-day. So maybe next week they will be fully riding the wheel. But that's it for the wheel of IL.
Juan Soto would be another guy who maybe, if he's healthy, would be somebody I wouldn't mind watching in the home run derby.
Yeah. And then Max Scherzer has been activated. He is off the wheel and back with the Mets.
Cool. So I just found this out and I was surprised. I don't know how how did this happen? But did you know that this year is the 30th anniversary of the release of A League of Their Own?
I saw that and I couldn't believe that. 30 years. It's been 30 years that we've known that there's no crying in baseball.
30 years. No crying in baseball. And it's there. I guess there's a whole bunch of stuff going on around it. There is I believe it's a Netflix series that they're putting together that's supposed to be about it. And if you remember, there was a TV series right after it came out, and some of those that were in the movie moved on to that. So there's a lot of stuff out there about the movie. I read an interesting article that was done. They interviewed Megan Cavanaugh, who played Marla Hooch, second baseman Marla Hooch. What a hitter.
Yep.
And she was getting ready to go and play in a reunion game. And she can still hit from both sides. They turned her into a switch hitter, and she's still raking from both sides, even in her 60s. So if you got a minute, stop down, watch it again. It's such a great movie, not only as a baseball movie, but just as a history movie, the things that we don't realize that people did during different times. World War II's going on. People stepped up and, and they did and played some pretty good baseball. So check that out. Go out and buy the 30th anniversary edition whenever they put it out on DVD or whatever. And I just thought, I mean, it's nothing big, but I just thought that was pretty interesting. 30 whole years of A League of Their
30
Own.
years, A League of Their Own. Great movie. If it comes on, can always watch it wherever it is.
Yeah, they show it a lot on TBS, MLB Network. All right, before we bail out, coming up next week, you want to be fully logged in and ready to go and listening in, because we're going to tell you how you can get yourself an SRBB t-shirt, the official Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast t-shirt, and also be in the running to get a gift card from Game Day Chic, who's partnering up with us, thankfully. Thank you to Game Day Chic. They've got some great stuff. Jana can attest to that, and check out the Instagram.
I'm wearing one of their shirts right now.
That's what made me remember. And check out our Instagram
On Facebook and Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
and you'll be able to see pictures of that. Maybe you can get them up on the website, some up on the website as well, whether it be with you. I know that one picture you did post on our social media when you were at the Rockies game earlier this season got you a nice little tag from the Game Day Chic folks. And then our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. And of course, you can find us on Twitter, Sibling Rivalry BB without the A. So that'll wrap everything up this week. We will do like we always do. See what happened with the Dodgers. Can they continue winning? What will happen when they play the Rockies at home? Can they finally solve whatever it is about the Rockies and get a win there? Will the Angels be able to do something against the Marlins and the Orioles, or will those two animals get the best of them? All right. And that'll do it for us on this edition of the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. We look forward to chatting up with you next week. Get out there and enjoy some baseball, and don't forget to swing away.